Good evening and welcome to the programme. The government handed a concession to commuters today after it was revealed that fares won't be going up by quite as much as first thought, but the savings will be pennies rather than pounds. The Mayor said it was helping the pockets of cash-strapped Londoners, but critics say the reduction isn't enough. With all the details, here's our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards.
The Mayor and the Chancellor supporting infrastructure investment. Here a new Northern Line spur to Nine Elms. Also, we've learnt there will be some respite for commuters. Fares will still be going up next year, but not by as much, on average 6%.
The government has decided that they're going to abate the Network Rail fare increases very considerably. And I think that's a good thing, and here in London it will be a blessing in the sense that we won't have to put up the fares by RPI plus 2 but RPI plus 1. They're giving us the full budget to pay for that, and it means that we can do that. We can reduce the increase in January but keep every single penny of investment in transport infrastructure.
We don't know the exact fare rises, but what it could mean is an off-peak Zone 1 and 2 travel card that would have gone up to £7.10 next year could now cost £7. And an annual rail season ticket from Reading that was due to be £3,870 in 2012 could now be under £3,800.
There's no pay rises going around, but yet these people are putting the fares up 6%. It's absolutely ridiculous.
If only they could freeze them, or at least bring them down, that would please everyone, no doubt.
The fares go up, but you don't really see any recompense for your money. So the service isn't better, they're not more on time, they don't guarantee anything, they just put them up.
Central government will give £130 million to TfL to make up for the lost revenue. That means plans for projects like Crossrail won't have to be redrawn. Unions, though, are angry.
Sadly, a lot of people have had no increase in wages, but the average increases across the economy are around a 2% figure. This is 3 times as much. This is going to hit very hard-working people. As I said, in effect, it is a tax on commuters.
And Labour's mayoral candidate Ken Livingstone, campaigning today in Camden, says a 6% rise is still too much.
It's absolutely crucial to keep fares down. The Mayor's got it right by freezing the council tax during this economic crisis. I just don't understand why he doesn't take the same approach to fares.
City Hall, though, says this shows the Mayor's made a strong case for London's commuters to the Treasury. More details are expected tomorrow. Tom Edwards, BBC London News.
Well, news of the fare cap came on the same day as the government announced plans to invest in some of the capital's key transport projects. As well as improvements to the M25, it's hoped that an extension to the Northern Line will finally kickstart a multi-billion-pound development in Battersea. Alex Bushell has more.
The M25, M3 and the Northern Line. Major transport links all in need of an upgrade and now likely to have one. The most expensive of them all, an extension to the Northern Line, creating 2 new stops at Nine Elms and then Battersea, just by the power station, at a grand cost of £750 million. Among those best placed to benefit, the new owners of this pub.
It looks fairly empty, the land here, quite derelict. There's only sort of footfall when there are events here, but I think with the further development, there'll be more people in this area for us.
She'll be glad to know that the Chancellor is now likely to allow the local council to borrow money to build this tube link, an announcement to be made tomorrow. Most of the money will come from private developers who'll benefit, like the owners of this site. But the shortfall might now be borrowed. All money raised against future tax take from the prosperous area that will follow. That's the theory, at least.
The regeneration of Nine Elms is now well underway. The American Embassy will be built on the other side of the road, and here 800 homes will be built. Now, the developers have already given more than £35 million towards the cost of that Northern Line extension. And yet there is a long shadow being cast over both sites in the form of Battersea Power Station. Despite countless planning applications, it stands derelict even today. A reminder of the risks involved.
The council, however, remain undeterred.
Battersea Power Station regeneration cannot happen without a proper transport solution to the area, and the proper transport solution to the area is the extension of the Northern Line. So this is the chicken and egg. We have the egg, we'll get the chicken.
As for the M25 and the M3, new investment will allow the hard shoulder to be used, increasing capacity on congested parts of the motorway, a move welcomed by many.
Managed motorways have been proven to increase that capacity and to reduce the accident rate and to have a carbon benefit. They do cost a lot of money in terms of infrastructure, gantries, telecommunications and management, but it is very welcome.
So, some road links will be improved. As for the Northern Line, the key will be just how much public money, borrowed or otherwise, is needed to finish the job. Alex Bushell, BBC London News.
Our political correspondent Carl Mercer is at City Hall for us now. So Carl, a flurry of announcements today. What are we to make of the timing?
Yeah, it's a big week for the government. A few tricky announcements and a few tricky days ahead for them. Of course, tomorrow, as we were saying, the autumn statement from the Chancellor. We're expecting a rough ride over his predictions for the future of the economy, things like unemployment. And then on Wednesday, of course, we've got the big public sector strike. So what we're seeing today, I think, the government might be being a bit selective and cherry-picking the good news that we're expecting from the autumn statement tomorrow. That news on the fares not going up as much as possible and on the extra money for building projects. The question Labour are asking and the opposition saying, who's going to pay for this? Is this going to be a matter of robbing Peter to pay Paul? And who will lose out, if anyone, when it comes to paying for those promises the government's made?
And the extra money to keep fares down will come as a relief to the mayor.
Yeah, I think it will. The timing on this is interesting as well. There's been a big poll today where the mayor, good news for him, is ahead of his Labour rival Ken Livingstone when it comes to actually being who Londoners are going to vote for to be mayor. But there's one key factor where he's a long way behind Ken Livingstone, and that's in transport. So he's going to be delighted, isn't he, that he can say to Londoners, your fares aren't going to go up quite as much and I'm going to try and build some new things. But I think also a recognition from the government that transport is going to be a key issue when Londoners go to the polls next May.
From City Hall, Carl, thank you.